not in the book. Okay?
Yes, chef.
All right. Now there's 50-some questions. The first 10 is terminology. Okay? And I'm going to give you the terms that you've got to look up and remember. Okay?
Yes, chef.
All right, the first one is brand. The second one, coagulation. That'll be, you'll find that in the baking process section. How the starches coagulate at a certain temperature and all that, right? The third one is press. What's a press? That's a press. The dough that goes in there is also called a press. Like make all your presses 3 pounds or whatever. Okay? The fourth one, gelatinization. That's in the baking process too section in your book. The starch is gelatinized. It's in your book. Fifth one is germ. That's part of the wheat kernel, right? Next one is gluten. What is gluten? Next one, what is a wash? Number 8, what is retarding? Number 9, what is a sponge? Now, we didn't do the sponge method, we do the Polish method. The sponge method is kind of the same thing as a Polish, but it's a larger portion of the dough that's made the day ahead of time. Sits overnight. We did with the white pan bread. Sits overnight, and then you add the rest of the ingredients the next day, and it cuts down on fermentation. Right? We only fermented that, what, 15 minutes? Because a big part of the dough fermented overnight. Okay? The next one is tunneling. Tunneling. Now that's got something to do with the texture of the baking product. You know, baguettes has nice irregular holes. That's good tunneling. But a muffin or a quick bread, if you overmixed it, you're going to get inappropriate tunneling. It's not good. Okay? All right, that's all the terms. The next 10 questions are true or false. Number 1. You know, if you know the answer, there's no sense in wasting your time writing it down. You know? Because some of these are kind of common sense. Should be. Scaling is the most accurate way to measure ingredients.
What's the answer?
True or false? Number 2. Strong flour is made from wheat with a high protein content.
Strong flour.
Number 3. Egg whites act as a tenderizer in baked goods. That's tricky.
Wheat.
Egg whites are mostly what? Protein, right?
Yes.
What is the yolk?
Wheat.
Fat. What does fat do to gluten?
High protein.
It weakens it,
high protein content.
So that one's kind of tricky. Number 4, the ideal temperature for fermenting dough is 95.
What's that one?
You
Content.
should know that's the answer to that. Number 5, Forcing the gas out of the fermented dough when you take it out of there is called folding. What do you do when you take the dough out of the
Big wash.
done? What do I always tell you to do?
Beats.
X
Dump
as
it
a
on the flour
tenderizer.
and then what? Okay. Basically, you're
Wash.
getting rid of that excess
X
gas.
as a tenderizer.
X. S.
Now, this one's common
ACTS.
sense. This next one is common sense. Bread that is not to be served the same day should be wrapped while it is still hot to preserve the freshness. Come on. You should know that. Would you ever wrap a bread when it's hot? Isn't cooling one of the 12 steps? Huh?
What's number 4?
The purpose of a sourdough starter
Ideal.
is to provide flavor and leavening. Number 8, when cutting biscuits with a round cutter, you should press the cutter straight down, not twist it. Number 9, muffins that contain a high percentage of sugar
This one.
are likely to be more tender than those with less sugar. So what is the functionality of sugar in a bakery product?
Tenderizer.
Right. What else? Sweet. There's one other reason sugar does. It weakens gluten. You know, it's also food for the yeast. But that's got nothing to do with that question. That's functionality of ingredients, which we're going to get to. Number 10, high fat and high sugar in a cookie will make it crisp. True or false? So if you look at the cookie section in your book, it'll tell you kind of like high fat sugar does this, high moisture, low sugar does this. If you look at the cookie section, okay? Okay, that's all the true or false. The next 10 questions are fill in the blank. Number 1, lean dough. Like baguettes, right? Lean dough is low in blank and blank. Number 2, the 3 main purposes of mixing a yeast dough are blank, blank, and blank. That's in your mixing, understanding mixing section in your book. There's 3 reasons. Obviously, one is to develop gluten. Okay? Number 3, yeast acts on sugar in dough, producing blank and blank. This is called blank. Now what happens when the yeast eats the flour? It gives off what? Carbon dioxide gas, which eventually turns to what?
Steam. Water.
So something that makes the bread taste good.
Oh,
Something we all like on Friday nights.
sugar.
Alcohol.
Oh.
Sorry.
Sugar.
Sorry, I've been sober. I'm sober. Sorry.
Aw. I'm just kidding.
I'm so shocked by what you said, Ryan. I had to like punch my Pepsi.
And this, what is it called? What is that process called?
Fermentation.
Fermentation. Come on. Okay, number 4. The rapid rise of yeast products in the oven due to the production and expansion of the gas in the dough. That bread hits that oven.
Yeast.
What's it called? Oven spring. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, right?
No.
All right, number 5. After bread is made up and panned, it's placed in a warm, moist environment and it is allowed to rise again. This is called what? Proofing. Number 6. How do you know when a yeast product is proofed and ready for the oven? Who can answer that?
It's like it kind of springs back when it like kind of push it.
When what?
When you like press it into it, kind of pushes back a little bit, or no, it doesn't put back anymore.
It only comes back about half. Remember that. If it springs back, it's not ready. Any dough that's hard, rubbery, it's going to spring back. But when it's blowing up a little bit, and you put your finger there, it's only going to come back a little bit. It's going to leave a mark. Blank flour is the weakest flour. Okay. I want to see who knows this next one. The starchy interior of the wheat grain is called the blank. The dorsman. Number 9. Yeast is killed at blank Fahrenheit.
Let me just get this one. Go ahead.
140.
Number 10. Beating fat and sugar together to incorporate small bubbles of air is called creaming. Now, the next question is math. Couple. A couple.
Real quick.
The starchy interior of the wheat grain is called the blank. Now, the Duchess dough press cuts how many rolls? 36. You need to know that. Because if I want 1 3/4 ounce rolls, how much dough goes in that?
36 what? Dough sheets.
Okay?
The Duchess dough press.
But it's not going to be 1 3/4 ounce. It's something else. Okay? Just so you know. I want 2 ounce rolls. How much dough goes in there? Okay, it's not going to be that either. Just so you understand. Okay? All right, the next 5 questions are conversions. For example, you need to know this, whether you're a baker or a chef. I don't care. It's something you should always memorize. Because you're going to be faced sometime, you're in a kitchen and you can't find any measuring spoons or cups. It's going to happen. Okay? It's going to happen. So you need to know, have that knowledge. Okay, how many pints in a gallon? How many teaspoons in a tablespoon? How many tablespoons in 3/4 of a cup? You need to know all this. How many ounces in 3.5 pounds? Or whatever. Okay? You need to know that. Conversion.
What's the other
Now,
ones?
I think I went over this once.
Teaspoons to tablespoons.
How to get a new yield. Did I go over that? One day on the chalkboard here? How to change a formula?
And what else?
Okay.
Ounce to pound.
All right. In the book, there's 2 ways of doing it. There's one using Baker's percentages, and there's one using new yield versus old yield. Don't do the Baker's percentages. The new yield versus old yield is much easier. Okay, now, let's say he's got a side towel.
What's this one?
Not Baker's percentage.
You gotta know this too, that's one of the questions.
What is that? Is that continuing to this?
Yeah.
You understand that? Ideal delta? There's gonna be a scenario. Question. Now, let's say you got a recipe, flour, water, yeast, salt. It's really all you need to make dough. Okay? Let's say this is 6 pounds. This is 3 pounds. 3 pounds, 12 ounces. This is 2 ounces. Salt, yeast, and 2 ounces of yeast. So basically, basically, if you add this up, you have 10 pounds. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
It's 12, 14, 16, that's a pound. You got 10 pounds of dough. What if I came up to you and I said, well, it would be easy if I say, hey, give me a half recipe. It's easy.
Oh, I have those.
Divide everything in half. But what if I said I want, I don't know, I want 7 pounds of dough. This is my old, my new, maybe 7 pounds. Makes it a little tricky. You got to do some math, right? Why would I have to know this?
Try to scale recipes.
Huh?
If you want to scale your recipe to a different size or
What if some lady came in and you don't make? Normally, you don't make multi-grain on a normal basis because maybe it doesn't sell that good. You don't make it that much anymore. For example, if some lady comes in and says, I need 7 1-pound loaves. Multi-grain. Remember you used to make that years ago? Can I get that? You don't want to be making a big batch because you're going to get stuck with 3 loaves. You don't make money that way thinking like that. Okay? So you want to make exactly what you need. Okay. So, I want 7 pounds. The first thing you got to do is you want to convert to ounces. Okay? So here we have 160, right? What's 7 times 16? Get your calculators out.
112.
112?
Yeah, 112.
112, okay? That's the first thing you gotta do. Convert to ounces. You don't want to be dealing with pounds at all. Keep everything in ounces. So, what you're gonna do is you're gonna divide the old yield into the new yield. 160 divided into 112. Somebody do that on their calculator.
It's 1.43.
What is it?
Would be 1.43. I think I did backwards. It's
No, it should be point something. Point what?
0.7.
Point 7. Okay. Okay? You want to round it. Should round up though.
It was just an even 0.7.
What, it was even 1.7, okay, but if it was like 0.75, I would, 0.75 works. But if it was like 0.79, I would go 0.8. You have a little more dough. Rather than be short. Okay? So 0.7. Now, you're going to multiply each ingredient by 0.7. But first thing you got to do is you got to convert them all to ounces. So 6 times 16 is what? 6 times 16.
96.
Okay? 3 times 16
48.
plus 12.
60.
Okay, so everything here is ounces. So now you multiply all these by 0.7. Tell me how much flour? 0.7 times 6, 96.
67.2.
How much?
67.2.
67.2. How about the water?
42 ounces.
42?
Yes, sir.
How about the yeast?
1.4.
Salt, same thing, 1.4. Now there's your new recipe. Now, there's your new recipe for 7 pounds. But you know where students screw up? Converting back to pounds. That's where they mess up. For example, so I got 67.2 ounces. How many pounds is that?
4 pounds.
Do it on your calculator. 67.4 divided by 16.
4 pounds, 2 ounces.
What's your answer?
4 pounds, 3.2 ounces.
4.
2.125.
What does it say on there? What's the answer? 67.2 times 0.7.
You mean about a 15?
40s?
Times 0.7.
Wait a minute.
We're gonna
67.
Divided by 16. 4.2.
Yes.
It's not 4 pounds, 2 ounces. It's 2/10 of a pound. What is that?
3.2.
Yeah.
3.2 ounces. So
It's
it's
just 0.2 times 16 to get 3.2.
4 pounds. Plus
Yeah, I'm so
3.2
lost
ounces.
with this shit.
Okay, do this one. Water.
Take that whole.
Yeah. Here, can I see your calculator?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
42 divided by 16.
When a lot of students, when they
So it's
convert
2
back to
pounds.
pounds, and they do their math on their calculator, they think that 0.2 or something is 2 ounces, when it's 2/10 of a
2
pound.
pounds, 10 ounces.
Okay. Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
You don't understand, you're lost.
At like the.
For the first one, it was 67.2. Try to get the pounds, so divided by 16,
We'll go with
4.2 to figure out how many 0.2 ounces is. 0.2 times 16, that'll get us 6 ounces.
So it'd be 4.5
Four, yeah, 3.2, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think that makes sense.
You understand? See, when you do your math, it's gonna say 3 pound point, it's gonna say 3.3.
anything after the decimal, take the decimal.
That's,
point, whatever.
that 0.3 is not an ounce.
To get that right.
0.3 times 16.
Okay.
No, 4 pounds and 3.2 ounces. It was 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys understand that?
Okay. Somewhat.
Yeah, we're learning.
There's like 10 questions like that on the test.
Okay.
No, there's only one. There's only one.
Everyone's panicking.
I was I'm done. Everyone's down the drain.
There's only one, but you know, you should know that.
Yeah.
You should know that. It's real simple to take my recipes in that book and make any quantity you want if you understand this. You know, I do once in a while, like once a year, I'll do a continuing ed class in here with, adults that like live in Northville, housewives, grandmothers. They all come in and they do a class, okay, on breads. And I give them the recipes in the manual. And they go, how do I go make this at home? This is 20 baguettes. So I show them this. And they go, oh, why don't you do it? I go, you're in college. This is college.
Figure it out.
You can convert these to any, you want to make 2 baguettes? You can do it.
I'm gonna have 20 baguettes in. Should be 4 baguettes in here. Oh.
You can change that formula to anything you want if you understand this. You can make 1,000 baguettes.
That's a lot of baguettes. That's a lot of baguettes.
If you got an oven big enough to bake them. All right, let's continue on. The next question. What ingredient in a baking formula is always 100%?
Flour.
Okay, the next one is the ideal dough temperature formula. It'll tell you the room, ingredient, friction. You gotta figure it out. Okay? The last 18 questions are essay. They're essay. Here we go. Describe the straight dough mixing method for yeast breads. Number 2. Describe the creaming method for mixing cookie dough. Number 3. Describe the biscuit method. So you got to get there. You got to say cut the fat into the dry ingredients. Combine the liquids. Mix it together. Bring it to the bench. Fold it 8 to 10 times. You have to know that. Number 4. Describe the muffin mixing method. Number 5. Number 5, look. List the 12 steps in baking. If you get one wrong, your bread's not going to come out. So you don't get it right. Can't be any partial credit here. If you forget to proof the bread, right? If you forget the final shape, if you didn't scale it right, if you forgot to ferment it, if you didn't bake it, if you didn't cool it,
What the hell you doing here, huh?
anybody know the last step?
Eat it.
Storing. You gotta know those. All right, number 6. This is in the chapter of functionality of ingredients in your book. I believe it's in your manual too. List 3 functions of fat in a bakery product. Number 7. List 3 functions of sugar in a bakery product. Number 8. List 2 functions of salt in a bakery product. Number 9. List 2 functions of eggs in a bakery product. I think if you're going to ever get into baking, you have to understand what all these different ingredients do to the product. Okay? Number 10. Name 2 types of washes. Now, obviously, we've done egg wash. We've done one other one, too. All right, number 11. There's 8 types of cookies. You have to list these. Now, we didn't make all 8. We made drop cookies mainly. Drop them with a scoop. We made sheet cookies, peanut butter bars, pecan diamonds, right? We made those. We made molded cookies, the crescents. You know, there's other types of cookies that, you know, I usually don't make in this class, but I make them in the pastry program, baking and pastry. There's like, oh, we made bar cookies. That's 4. What's a bar cookie? Scotty. Okay, it's a bar cookie. There's rolled cookies, like you would roll out and cut out your little sugar hearts and decorate them, right? There's molded cookies that are molded. Okay. There's piped cookies. There's what we call an icebox cookie, where the doughs are, you got 2 different kind of doughs, and you'll decorate them, chocolate, make checkerboards and stuff, and you put them in the icebox, and you cut them and bake them. Okay, put them in the freezer or whatever. There's also stencil cookies. It's kind of a batter you put on a stencil. You guys have pastry?
Yeah.
You guys make some stencil cookies?
Yeah.
Stencil cookies. So you gotta know the 8 types of cookies. Number 12. Name 3 factors that will cause a cookie to spread. Now we talked about overcreaming, right? That's 1.
3 factors.
You know what number 2 is? The student. No.
3 factors.
There's different ratios, like low fat or high fat, too much fat in there, too much sugar in the dough. So you gotta look up on that. Functionality of cookies. It's all in the cookie section. Number 13, why is gluten important? You know, basically in yeast products, but it's important in quick breads too. Number 14,
Why is gluten?
name 2 types of laminated doughs. We did that every week in this class. 15, describe the characteristics of a crisp cookie. It'll be in the cookie section. It'll tell you whether it's high moisture or
Where's the
whatever.
face? What? None? Name.
Number 16, describe the modified straight dough method for yeast dough. Now, we really didn't do that in this class. Did we make brioche in this class? Well, basically that olive bread, that's kind of modified because you add stuff later. So modified would be a portion of the dough's mixed and then something's added later. Sometimes maybe you'll cream the butter and stuff like that, and then that'll go in later, the flour will go in later, but it's modified. It's not like water, yeast, everything goes in. So it's modified. That could be modified, yeah. That could be modified. But there's a whole section on that though, in the book. Under your mixing methods.
What is that word? Consistent.
Characteristics.
Characteristics.
Okay, number 17, describe the sponge method. Now, the only bread we did in this class with the sponge method was the white pan bread. Who made that? Okay, a large portion of the dough, we had that big bowl, was made the day before. It's kind of like the poolish, but the dough is the water and the flour is the same ratio as the final dough. That's the difference. Poolish is wetter. Okay? And it rises and then it's mixed. There's a section on that. What are two advantages of that sponge method? Who could tell me?
The time is cut down.
The fermenting time is cut way down. What else? Flavor. Because that sponge develops all that alcohol overnight. Flavor, and you save a lot of time in fermentation. That's all the questions. You guys should all ace this test. You have like 2 weeks to study. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, chef.
Make sure you ace it. Study.
Yes, sir.
Question, Chef. Our homework is due on Thursday next week since we aren't here Friday, is that right?
Yeah, we're not here on Friday.
Let me see something.
So next week is what, week 4?